Hi, thanks for joining us for week 2, Drinks with Barry, our weekly recap of what's going on with Barry himself. Thank you. Today, Scotch.
My turn?
Yeah, you go for it.
All right. This week for me, let me work that. Cheers.
Cheers.
Big thing for me this week was finding a couple parts for the front end that were really hard to find, apparently, or not. The big issue was when we got Barry home and took the front end apart, discovered the left front brake at some point, I don't know if it was us driving it home or what, it had overheated. And it had actually melted our ABS wheel speed sensor in the left front corner. So this week began with, I must find that, and I need to get new brake lines. Because the brake lines concern me. I didn't solve that last week, so I need to get brake lines. So those are my two big pushes for the week, and I need to have a sip. Oh, yeah. So I went to Napa, local shop. I figured, okay, I could take what I have. They could match it up. They could find me a new one. They had nothing like it. Nothing in their computer at all like it. They called the local Chevy dealership, who was useless. I'm not going to say who they were, but they were absolutely useless. One guy at Napa called them, spoke with them. They said discontinued. That was the end of the conversation. Another Napa employee said, that can't be. Doesn't make sense. And I'm saying, it can't make sense. If an RV comes into a local Chevy dealership and says, hey, I have a problem with this, they should be able to do something, you would think. So another Napa guy, manager there, said, that's not right. So he called them. Got the same thing. Discontinued. Sorry, we can't help you at all. Bugger off.
Good customer service.
It was great customer service. So Napa was like, sorry, we can't help you out at all. I come home and I continue. That I think it was the wheel speed sensor. The brake lines, Napa didn't have them. I think I called back the dealership. Forget what part I called them back about trying to find. And same level of customer service of discontinued, bugger off, leave us alone. I'm like, okay, thank you. I found online a company called ultrarvproducts.com. And I called them and said, here's my VIN number. This is what I have. I need a wheel speed sensor. And they said, oh, no problem. Put me on hold. About 5 minutes I was on hold for, but they kept checking back saying, please keep holding. We're checking into this for you. At the end of 5 minutes, they answer, the phone picks up and they say, here's the part number for it. You can order it from these myriad of places. And at that point, it was like, they had been extremely helpful, went out of the way to help me. And at that point, I said, do you sell it? And they said, yeah. And I said, okay, send me one. And I ordered it from them, and it was here just like 3 days later. So I had the wheel speed sensor sorted. The brake line, and they also said if I ever have any other needs for the P30 chassis, or P32 to be specific, call them and they can get the parts, no problem. And they're like, it's no problem at all for them to get the wheel speed sensor. They said, that's common. Don't worry about that. I'm like, oh, okay. Why couldn't local guys help me out? I know some were saying this is a workforce chassis, but no, workforce came in, or workhorse, whatever it's called, workhorse, came in after this chassis was made. So I was like, but anyways, apparently they support it as well. The brake lines, the rears are no problem. Those are just standard Dana 80 brake lines. The front with this chassis was a nightmare. I found them online, I think, for $60 a pop, and I'm cheap. I wasn't willing to spend $60 for a brake line, so I went to my local hydraulic shop and handed them the 2 brake lines. They looked at them for a second and said $30 a piece. And
Okay.
I went, done. Went back later that day, and it was like 3 hours later. They called and said they're ready, and they had made all new brake lines for $30 a piece. So if you're ever looking for brake lines, have a problem or anything with your high pressure lines, go to your local hydraulic shop because they completely made all brand new lines for it for the front. $30 a piece. I'm like, that's a bargain. Do you want to jump in with anything, or do you want me to keep talking mechanics? I'm going to take a sip.
For the people who aren't mechanics, I'll jump in with some decor stuff. So,
I'm doing right now, all I care about is the mechanics of this thing. All she cares about what it looks like. So we're yin and yang. I'm with the hammer.
I help out with him when needed. Like today, I climbed underneath inside one of the wheel wells and helped.
It is pouring at the moment.
So
Hooray
that's
for
what that
Florida.
sound is. Alright, so for me, I was hoping to get a lot more done than I actually did. I ended up taking a house sitting slash dog sitting job this week, so I've been away from home most of the week. So I've crammed all of my work in the last 2 days. Trip to Lowe's and Home Depot. Picking out paint colors. I mean, there's like 50 here. So trying to figure out what we like best. Do we want to keep it lighter in here? Do we want to go darker? But that's all going to be based on the flooring and what we pick out.
And that's one thing I'm jumping in. I keep screaming, I want teak and holly floors. And that's turning into a nightmare, trying to put in a teak and holly floor in this. But more updates coming on that next week, week after, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
There's updates coming on teak and holly floor in an RV.
So I have to say, I really am not good at decorating. Pick one color, cool, I can put that on a wall. But when it comes to having to match the floor to the paint to the tiling for the back of the kitchen, the back of the stove, yeah, that's just way too much. I'm way too simple for that. So lots of colors, lots of options. We think that we are down to a couple, so that's so that's good.
Green or beige? Which one will it be?
The big question. That's actually a teal. So yeah, that's my big thing was decor-wise. On top of that, I cleaned Barry top to bottom with bleach and got to wear a fun respirator. Looked great. Good fashion sense there.
I was under Barry. I had no idea.
You had no idea. So with that, cleaned Barry, all nice and clean, good bleachy, clean smell. And then I taped him off, and then today the first coat of white went on, as you can see behind us.
No mirror. The mirror is gone.
Yes.
The mirror that kept messing with me is finally gone.
So yeah, white. Very white, very bright. And then this week I hope to finish the white. There's just a couple more spots that I have to get. The reason they're not done yet is because I had to remove wallpaper. I have determined that wallpaper is the meanest thing ever invented. And if you ever think of adding wallpaper to your house, your boat, or your RV, maybe rethink it. Because one day you're going to want to take it off because you no longer like the pattern. Or you're going to sell whatever it is that has the wallpaper in it, and then someone's going to want to take it off. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. I need a drink.
Have a drink.
Yeah, not fun.
Well, my not fun has been Barry goes back next weekend. It's going back to the dealership. When we bought it, I made a deal with the dealership. And that was, there was a couple little gig items I had for it, and I said, these are the things I want done. And the big ticket item that's remaining right now is the awning. And that was, I wanted a new one. And so we negotiated that in the price, and it gets a whole new full side awning, and they're going to do it and install it and take care of it for me. I have never done one before. I don't think it would be impossible for us to do. But it was just one of those things. It was easy as a negotiation tactic to have them throw it in. They feel like they're winning. I feel like I'm winning. So cool. Part of it was they needed to order, and I said, you know what? Let's take Barry for 2 weeks. We'll bring it back. You'll have the awning in stock. You can do it then, and while we have the 2 weeks with it, we can then start going through everything, and we can start making a list of stuff we want, what we need to do, start cleaning it, and thinking about it. So the problem became, I've got a week left for it to be done. So when I started this week, I started thinking, oh crap, I haven't even started on the back half of this thing. I haven't really worked much on the motor, just, because I want to put a new serpentine belt on, which means a new idler tensioner, and a bunch of other little, the annoyances of things I say that I want to replace all the rubber, so I need to address that. It is pouring. I'm at you guys have to be hearing this, and I apologize, but this is, remember again, Drinks with Barry is one take, otherwise I'm going to be too inebriated to do it. So, I had to, beginning this week as well, when I was ordering those parts, it was like, crap, parts aren't going to get in here in time for me to finish the front end. I need time for parts to arrive for the back end in case I run into any problems with the back end, like I did with the front. So it was, crap, got to get that together so I can jump to the back. I did do a whole lot of undercoating in the front though, because I am going, as I go through and I have this thing of when you touch something, make sure it's as good as it can be. So a lot of the both front wheel wells have been completely re-undercoated. If there's any rust there at all, grinded, resealed it, undercoated it, just to make sure when we go off-roading with this thing, because I'm an idiot. This is likely to get into boondocking scenarios it should not be in. I want to make sure if I hit a rock or picked up a rock by a tire, it won't cause some damage in the wheel well. So everything's getting shielded and undercoated and just going overkill with that. The airbags went in frantically. Amy was house sitting, so that means I got to put airbags in our oven in the house. To cook them a little bit. I put them at the lowest temperature that our oven would go at, cracked the door open, set them in there for about 5 minutes, and they came out really nice and pliable. Not melted, but nice and pliable. So I was able to shove them in fairly easily.
Well, he sent me a text message, and it was a picture of our oven with the airbag in it. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what is that? Is that an airbag?
Yeah.
The things he does when I'm away. What was it last time you set the yard on fire?
It's been a while since I set the yard on fire, but that was working on the Jeep. But after that, so the airbags in, the undercoating was done. At that point, the panic really started to set in, and I was spending a lot of time and not looking at the rear. So I threw the front together. There's no brake calipers up there. The new brake lines aren't installed. The new ABS sensor wasn't here yet, so that's why that wasn't installed. But there are wheels on the front end. So that was done. So I'm like, I can drop the front end on the ground, because for some reason my paranoid state says I can't have all four corners up in the air simultaneously.
And my worried side is happy for his paranoid side. So
yeah,
it works out.
I only wanted to have one end up in the air at a time. I have enough jacks and jack stands to support it, but I just, for some reason, it rubbed me the wrong way. So I got the front end back down on the ground, but I know I need to go through it again. I got the rear end up. Let's see. The rear, I looked at it, and it was the same thing as the front. The pads had corroded onto the rotors, which then caused etching on the rotor, which caused the pads to start getting chewed up. They looked like brand new pads were just put on there, but I have no idea. But they obviously were aged. And I said, forget it. If I'm taking it apart, let's just go to town. So new rotors, brake lines. With the lines, no problem getting any parts from these. Just went to the local Napa. I took the parts in, so we were able to match them, and that got us new pads, bearings, and miles. Under there, I went in and threw in a new fuel filter as well, just for giggles, to make sure all is well. There is one outstanding item for the rear, and that is, this has a Dana 80 rear axle. For most of you, that may not mean anything, but for the geeks like me, cheers. And I thought, what oil am I going to put in the diff housing? I saw that Ford, with the trucks they put the Dana 80 in, have put out a notice saying, do not use the traditional weight oil you would use because we have an overheating issue. Whenever you're having a work truck, you're working it, that oil gets hot, that's what it's there for. But they had airflow issues over it, thus it was getting too hot and you were tearing up your rings. So, I'm thinking a motorhome has zero airflow back there. And that made me a little paranoid. I said, okay, so I'm going to put the heavier weight oil in it just for safety's sake. And then I take the diff cover off. It's got a little bit of rust on it, just surface rust. Nothing, no problem at all, but it's my anal retentive side says every time you touch something, it needs to go back on perfect. So I start, grinding and sanding, making it smooth again, and I'm thinking, I'm going to put paint on this thing to replace the paint that was on the steel cover, which is an insulator. So I'm going to be trapping heat into the diff housing. Long story short, I have a finned aluminum, machined aluminum diff cover coming. Absolutely beautiful piece. It's a hot rod piece. Summit Racing, thank you very much. So we have a beautiful diff cover coming that you'll never be able to see. But it's got an integrated drain plug. One last note of geeky note for diffs. The Dana 80 uses wet hubs, meaning what I'm going to call wet hubs. The oil inside the diff housing goes to oil the wheel bearings, so you don't have greased wheel bearings. Instead, the diff oil lubricates them. The traditional thinking on how to set the levels, you have a little bolt you pull out, you stick your finger in the hole. If you feel oil, all good. Don't do that on a Dana 80. The Dana 80, it's got to be at the bottom of the threads. Some people say, oh, you're risking overflow. Well, no, you're making sure oil gets into the ends. It's clear when you pull the cover off this, there's actually a beautiful witness mark of where they had the oil. It was about 1 inch low, which meant the actual wheel bearing, the hubs, had been starved for oil. when I popped the covers, there was almost no oil on either side, and I just drove this thing home. So that's a bit spooky. So always make sure with the Dana 80 wet hubs, go ahead and put it at the bottom of the hole. You're going to be fine. And it's actually spec'd by the service manual to ensure you are at the bottom of the threads of the fill hole. I'm done. Go.
I've determined by the end of...
That's the end of this.
I've determined by the end of remodeling Barry, I am going to be an expert in interior remodeling, and I'm going to know more about under the hood stuff as well.
Good, because I'm not doing this again.
And I have a response to that.
Well, she asked me today, what's it like doing all this work for you? Is this enjoyment? And I said, it's about as enjoyable as doing laundry.
So, for me, his job is to wash the laundry. My job is to put it away. Yeah, it sits there for like 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. So, yeah. Oh, I'm done. I don't.
Oh, you're done. Oh, I didn't know you were done.
Ooh, I don't
I'm
have
waiting for you to
anything
say.
else either.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's week 2 with Barry. Join us next week. Barry will be gone, actually. So it should be interesting footage of Barry wandering off, maybe or something. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, he'll be back.
So again, as always, if you have any questions, right below here, please feel free to ask them. I think we had questions this week, and next week we'll do a video addressing those and little background stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. See where the drinks take us. Cheers.
Thank you, guys.